Another possibility for breaking up a cluster is when you have a ball that is dead in the jaws of the pocket. And you would have a cluster like so. It is executing a carom shot, or what some people would like to refer to as a kiss shot. To really adequately explain how to aim a carom shot or a kiss shot, it would take a whole nother video by itself, but I just want to throw this out there as a possibility when you're talking about resolving clusters. And this is going to be my brief explanation of aiming a carom shot. Again, you have the center of the desired pocket for where you want to pocket a ball. And you draw a line from the center of the pocket through the center of the object ball, and you draw that line will continue through the ball that you're going to strike with the cue. So that line would be here. Then you set up over the cue ball, and you draw a line through the center of the cue ball and make that line connect or touch the line that runs through the center of your first ball. Now, there are dynamics of speed, there are dynamics of English, so don't really consider this discussion complete. It's definitely something else to look into. It's just something to keep in mind when you have, the point of me mentioning this is when you have a cluster like this, it's a good opportunity to break it up by using a kiss shot. Another possibility or another situation where you can pocket a ball and break up a cluster is what's called a ticky shot. And Byrne does a really good job in his book, his latest book, discussing the dynamics of a ticky shot. And basically what a ticky is striking the cue ball, contacting the rail first, then another ball, which caroms the cue ball into the object ball, thus pocketing the ball. And in this situation, you would have accomplished two things. First, you are pocketing the ball, which will continue your run if you're playing straight pool, and you're breaking the cluster. Now, if this were, that would be a foul in, say, 8-ball. So just to make it, for you guys who are sticklers for the rules, you would be contacting your object ball first, and then a strike. So again, something else that deserves more study. I really can't go into all the dynamics of a ticky shot. Byrne does a really good job of it, so I encourage you to look it up. When discussing clusters, I think it's worth mentioning that breaking up a cluster in general is a very risky move, especially in the area of 9-ball and 8-ball. From a strategic standpoint, in 8-ball, if I have one of my balls is being interfered with my opponent's ball, it's usually something I try to avoid dealing with. Now that varies from varying skill levels. This is from the standpoint of a league player, from a B-lister tournament, like a weekly pool hall tournament. Pros are going to have a lot more ability to predict the outcome of breaking a cluster, but for the sake of beginners to intermediate players, breaking clusters is especially when you have your opponent's ball tied up, going after one is a very risky move strategically, and it's something that I tend to avoid. In straight pool, if you're an offensive player, you might be a little more inclined to do it, but in 9-ball and 8-ball, if you can get away from it, from breaking it first, you should let your opponent do that. I can't tell you how many times I've left a cluster on the table, left it for my opponent to deal with. He dealt with it, got unlucky, and I ran out the rest of the rack. I've done it. That's a strategy I've really hung my hat on for many years, and it pays off again and again.